Hello, check, 1, 2, check.
A little, but sometimes no. Sometimes it adds to the effect. You know what I mean? Like a little reverb.
bit of reverb that feels good, but not like where you keep hearing your full words back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think it's alright. I don't think it's too bad.
You can hold on to that one if you want to. Yeah, if you just hold that. Good deal. This is Kyle. Hey, Kyle. Eric Zimmer. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 Guadalupe County Youth Show Market Lamb Show. This morning, we are about to get started. Do want to get the South Downs in Class 1 to the staging area so we can get started here in just a few minutes. Judge is in the ring. If we can get the South Downs in Class 1 to the staging area, please. All right, we are going to bring in the first class of South Downs. Once they get set up, we are going to do the national anthem. We can also have Class 2 South Downs come to the staging area to get ready. And we do have a special guest with us here this morning to sing our national anthem. Let me introduce Miss Madeline Abermite.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. In the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It's a really nice day to start the lamb show off with a really competitive class. For me, this sheep that wins the class does so really easily. This is a really stout made, just a big bodied, powerful sheep. Just the one that dominates the class in terms of his shape, his handle. He's super thin hided, extremely expressive down his top line. He just explodes out of that hip and just got some definition of stifle. He's got some depth of twist. Again, one that runs uphill. He's just cool to look at and certainly doesn't disappoint when you put your hands on him. He wins the class real easily. You kind of get into the second and third place holes here and evaluating them. I really like the length of body in this second place sheep. Again, one that's got just a bit more dimension on his hip. I think he's just a bit more powerful down the middle and lower portion of his leg. Again, I love his extension. I love his length of body. Kind of where we want to fault him a little bit when we get him moving. He wants to drop his chest forward ever so slightly. I'd like to elevate him just a little bit through his front third. But in terms of his handle, his hip, his stifle, it's certainly a powerful sheep in his own right. Young lady sheep in third, really firm handling sheep, not near as cracked open as what we see in first and second. Just like to give him just a bit more base width. I really like him in terms of his handle down his top. He's super firm to the touch, really fresh to the handle. Gets a little bit flatter in terms of his stifle, just a little bit less dimensional out his hip, but certainly one that's really nice in his own right. Getting down the line here, again, some differences in terms of style and design. Sheep that don't fit me quite as well in terms of their overall handle. Really competitive trio up here on the top end. Nice class winner. Let's give these young people a round of applause. Nice way to start the Lamb Show.
Class 1 South Downs, first place Cambry Boater, Navarro FFA. Second place Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Third place Mallory Lynn Box, Clemens FFA. Fourth place Nora Botting, Navarro 4-H. Fifth place Lucy Botting, Navarro 4-H. And sixth place Harper Shaw, New Berlin 4-H. Class 2 South Downs are in the staging area, about to enter the ring. There are 4 entries in this class. There will be 3 placings. Weights 126 to 140 pounds.
It's not as competitive heavyweight class. Some challenges here in relation to what these bring to the table. I think, again, the one that's got the most good about him is certainly the young lady sheep that wins the class. He's the firmest handling sheep in the class. He's certainly expressive down his top line. Again, one that just dominates the class in terms of stifle and hip. For me, he's stout from the ground up. Where do we kind of fault him just a bit? He wants to get just a little bit forward through his chest floor and through his brisket. Certainly one that's just a little bit raw in terms of his handle and his hip point junction. Wants to roll in his loin just a little bit more than maybe ideal, but certainly one that's just grooved up in terms of his rack and certainly powerful down his top line, especially in you to consider that leg as well. Sheep in second, long body, extended, really nice to look at from the side. Maybe not quite as balanced up as what we see in our class winner. He's the one that handles just a bit softer to the handle and touch. Certainly one that doesn't have that definition of top as what we see in our class winner in terms of rack. I think he may be just a notch better in terms of his loin, but it's really, really close here when you really compare them. Where he kind of gets beat for sure is his hip dimension and design. Just like to change that pin set, give him just a bit more power in the middle nor pushing his leg. A little different kind of sheep in the third place hole, one that just doesn't fit together in terms of his parts and pieces. To me, he gets super plain in terms of his shoulder and his front third. He wants to roach up in his top and maybe just a little bit different in terms of the way he travels about the arena. Again, like to relax him down his top line. Really like him for his length of body. But again, in terms of balance, in terms of full rib and flank, certainly one we got to change there. Then we get into the fourth place sheep. Again, one that's got some muscle down his top and certainly with some expression in that leg. Where we kind of evaluate him in relation to his contemporaries, he's probably the heaviest conditioned sheep. He's certainly a little bit softer to the touch and handle. So we like to firm him up, maybe clean him up over his ribs just a little bit more. Nice competitive class of heavyweight Southdowns. Let's give these four young exhibitors a round of applause. Good job.
Class 2, South Downs. First place, Justine Covarrubias, Navarro 4H. Second place, Morgan Karn, Seguin FFA. Third place, Colson Owen, New Berlin 4H. And fourth place, Colson Owen, New Berlin 4H. We can have our first and second place South Downs from Class 1 and Class 2 enter the ring. And at this time, we'll also call Class 4, which is our only class of fine wools, to the staging area. We can have Class 4 fine wools to the staging area.
I think it's pretty straightforward in relation to our champion and reserve. Really high quality sheep. All four of these are really good in their own right. For sure, the ones that worked their way up in that number one hole just dominated the class in terms of just power, and certainly ones that just had a great touch and handle to them. They're stout from the ground up. They got some length of body. Again, the second places maybe not quite as nice in terms of overall handle or mass, but certainly ones that fell quite nicely into that second place hole. For me, it gets down to a couple of really high quality sheep because they're fresh. They're long body. They're really cool to look at from the side. Again, they combine all those things. The champion is exceptional in every aspect of a Southdown, what they need to bring. Again, let's give this young lady a round of applause. The young lady out of the lightweights is going to be your champion. Congratulations to her. You're welcome. as we talk about that second place out of that class and evaluate him in relation to the heavyweight, again, we talk about freshness. We talk about really good touch and one that to me is just a little bit better up through his front third and shoulder. Again, a really high quality sheep in his own right. The young lady out of this lightweight class is going to be your reserve as well. Congratulations.
And your champion South Down will come out of Class 1, Camry Boater, Navarro FFA. And reserve is a second place from Class 1, which is Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. All right, Class 4 Fine Wools. We do have 6 entries in this class. We will be placing 5. Weights 115 through 147. Class 4 Fine Wools are in the ring. If we can call Class 6 Fine Wool Crosses, Class 5 is really listed as Fine Wool Breed Drive, but your first and second out of this class will be the breed champions. If we can get Class 6 Fine Wool Crosses to the staging area.
with a single classifying was this, the young lady sheep that wins this class and is ultimately your champion. Does so really easy. He is certainly the best sheep in terms of quality, in terms of touch and handle. He's the best in terms of condition. He's built right. Really, really stout. Again, one that runs uphill. Wedge is really good. Good in terms of his hip dimension. For me, I like him a lot. I think he wins the class really easily. The decision for me gets into second and third. There's some give and take with both of them. I think the one that handles just a little bit better, to the touch, is the young lady sheep in second. Just a bit more grooved up down his top line. Certainly a little bit longer bodied. One that again, similar to our class winner, runs uphill. For me, if we're going to change him a little bit, maybe fix him in terms of his pin set. He tends to roll out his hip just a bit more than ideal. Yeah, fine wolves do that a lot, but you don't see that pronounced of a roll in that class winner, and that's the way they need to be built. But certainly one that's got some shape down his top. A little softer handling sheep in the third place hole. He's got some top shape, and I like that about him. I just need to frame him up a little bit more, get him a little bit more elevation up to his front third and his chest floor. Certainly one, when you take a look at him, I think he's just a bit better in terms of his hip design when you compare him to our second place sheep, but we just need to give him just a bit more firmness to the touch, a little bit better in terms of his overall handle. Really competitive class, nice champion, reserve champion, our fine wool breed. Let's give all 6 of these exhibitors a round of applause. Very competitive class.
Class 4, Fine Wolves, 5th place, Maley McClendon, Marion FFA. 4th place, Kaylee McClendon, Marion FFA. 3rd place, Kyler McClendon, Marion FFA. 2nd place, Ava Delgado, Clemens FFA. And the class winner was Abigail Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Your 1st and 2nd place Fine Wolves out of that class are your breed champion and reserve. Do need class 6 fine wool crosses in the staging area. Entering the ring, there are 5 entries in this class. There will be 4 placings. Right, class 6 fine wool crosses are entering the ring. There are 5 entries in this class and 4 will be placing. Class 6 fine wool crosses are in the ring. If we can get class 7 fine wool crosses to the staging area. Calling class 7 fine wool crosses to the staging area.
Really nice set of final crosses in this lightweight class. We kind of a trend when we talk about these sheep that keep winning these classes. For me, I think this one does so very easily. You put your hands on him. He is so grooved up. He is so firm touching, super thin hided, exceptional, and lays that top right over that rib cage. One and again, just it gets better and better as he transitions from his rack all the way through his loin into his tail head. Superior in terms of handle touch. I like him in terms of his pin set. You back away from him, I think he's the most balanced up sheep. I love him through his forerib and his hind flank. One that's got some extension to him as well. He's good out of his hip. He's exceptional as his touch. He wins the class, so I mind real easily. It's a really nice sheep in second, just a notch shorter from flank to flank. He's the one that gets to, again, has got some shape down his top line. Is he as definitive as what we see in our class winners? Certainly not, but certainly one that's got plenty of shape. Where I like him in his aspect as compared to our third place sheep, he's just a little bit more opened up, just a little bit more dimensional at his hip. I'm going to give him just a bit more extension to his overall body, but certainly one that fits nice in that second place hole. It's really firm handling sheep in third. I like this sheep's length of body, probably just a notch longer from flank to flank as what we see in our second place sheep. This one gets a little bit forward through his chest. Certainly one that's just a little bit rounder at his hip. He doesn't have quite the dominance of top shape as what we see in that first and second place hole. He's the one that gets a bit more base narrow, not near as dimensional in terms of his overall skeleton, but one that's really firm to the handle and touch. And I appreciate that about him as well. Nice trio up here. Congratulations to these exhibitors.
Class 6, Fine Wool Crosses. First place, Mallory Lynn Box, Clemens FFA. Second place, Jackson Missildine, Marion FFA. Third place, Keely Bertling, Seguin FFA. And fourth place, Bryson Green, Navarro 4-H. Right, Class 7, medium weight Fine Wool Crosses should be in the staging area. Class 7 Fine Wool Crosses should be in the staging area. There are 4 entries in this class. We'll be placing 3. All right, Class 7 Fine Wool Crosses are in the ring. If we can have Class 8 the Heavyweight Fine Wool Crosses to the staging area. Calling Class 8 Fine Wool Crosses to the staging area.
It's not sheep to win the class. Really, he's built better. You put your hands on him. He's more dominant. He just has that grooved up top. He's really deep in terms of his loin. He's deep in terms of his stifle and his twist. Really stout from the ground up. One that to me is clean up through his shoulder in relation to the remainder of the class. One that to me bounces up just a little bit better. I love his handle. You really pick him apart. He's on that teetering line of maybe getting close to having more condition than acceptable, but I think he's within that acceptable range right now. So certainly one, I think you have to utilize this one to win the class. The decision for me is between second and third. I think the one that's built better is the one that's in the second place hole. I think he's just a little bit better out his hip. I think he's just a bit better in terms of his handle and touch. He's really nice and smooth down his top line. I like his elevation. I like his length of body. The young lady's sheep in the third place hole, again, maybe one that just wants to taper towards his tail head just a bit more, wants to round out his hip, need to change his pin placement, but certainly one that's got some firmness to the touch, freshness of the touch. Again, one that to me, again, is correct in his condition. Then we round the class out with one that doesn't balance up quite as well. One that's just a little bit softer to the handle. This is the one that gets a little bit deeper through his forerib in relation to his rear flank, so he just doesn't run uphill, and his balance is what we'd like to see in a class in a show sheep. But certainly ones that lots of product in their skeleton. Nice class winner. Let's give these four exhibitors a round of applause for the middleweight fine wool crosses.
Class 7 medium weight fine wool crosses. First place, Maxwell Minchow, New Berlin 4H. Second place, Kaylee Green, Navarro 4H. And third place, Kyler McClendon, Marion FFA. Heavyweight Class 8 fine wool crosses should be in the staging area. There are 3 entries in this class. They'll be placing 2. 3 entries. We do need first and second place fine wool crosses from Class 6 and Class 7 in the staging area, please. First and second place fine wool crosses from the lightweight, medium weight classes. Just a friendly reminder for parents and exhibitors, if you know that you are going to enter the sale with a certain animal, once you get to that point, you are welcome to come up to the announcer's table and fill out or turn in your sale card. Each kid will be handed a sale card with their ribbon. If you know that what you're going to sell, fill that out and turn it in today before you leave to the table here at the announcer desk.
It's really nice built ewe lamb to win this class. She's just balanced. She's big hip. One that's just great in terms of her lines. She's exceptional in terms of her top line and her underline. Bounces up well. She's certainly the most powerful sheep in the class. When she moves about the arena, she's got that natural base width. We'd like to make her just a little bit stouter from the ground up. Certainly, we'd like to clean her up over her ribs just a bit more than carrying a little bit more condition than ideal and perfect. But in terms of what she brings to the table for handle and design, she has to win the class. The young lady sheep in second, again, long-bodied, extended kind of sheep. He's really firm to the handle and correct in condition. He just doesn't have that hip dimension. He just doesn't have that overall design and balance than what we see in the class winner, but certainly plenty of product in his skeleton, and that's where he excels. Our third-place sheep. There's another extended, long-bodied sheep, really nice to look at in terms of his extension up to his front. This is the one that gets just a bit more base narrow. He wants to taper towards his dock and tail head just a bit more than what we'd accept today, but certainly one that I like his length of body and extension. Nice trio here in the heavyweights. Again, let's give these young ladies a round of applause as well for a good job.
Class 8, Fine Wool Crosses. First place, Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Second place, Savannah Klein, Marion FFA. And third place, Kira McClendon, Marion FFA. Do need our first and second place Fine Wool Crosses from Class 6, 7, and 8 in the staging area to enter the ring for breed champion and reserve breed champion. We do need Class 10 hair sheep to the staging area, please. Class 10 hair sheep to the staging area.
Nice set of Fine Wool Crosses. Let's give these 6 exhibitors a round of applause for elevating their game and getting into that champion and reserve champion drive. Really nice set. Again, as we talked about in our down classes and certainly our Fine Wool class, the sheep that wins their classes in individual weight divisions certainly they're better built. They look like show sheep. They balance up better, and then you put your hands on them, certainly handle so much better in relation to their contemporaries down the line. Again, that's not to say that our second place sheep were not good, because they elevated their game up to get into that second place role. They just weren't built quite as well. They just didn't handle quite as nice. They just weren't near as powerful, maybe down their top line or down in terms of their middle and lower portion of their leg. So when you take a look at these sheep here, especially the ones in the front line, it gets down to a few factors here in terms of completeness. It gets down to handle and touch, condition, balance. Again, to me, ones that fit the bill quite well in relation to all those combination of factors in terms of handle, condition, certainly balance and power. You're going to be a champion in reserve. Let's recognize the young lady out of the lightweights as your champion. Congratulations to her. As we take a look at the sheep that's going to follow that one again, I think there's one in terms of handle and touch, just a little bit better in terms of stoutness from the ground up, and that's going to be your reserve champion roll out of the middleweight division. Let's give this young man a round of applause.
All right, your champion fine wool cross comes out of Class 6, Mallory Lynn Box, Clemens FFA. Your reserve champion fine wool cross comes out of Class 7, Maxwell Minchow, New Berlin 4-H. All right, Class 10 hair sheep are entering the ring. There are 4 entries in this class. There will be 3 placing. If we can have Class 11 hair sheep to the staging area. Class 11 hair sheep to the staging area. Since it is getting close to lunchtime, I do want to make an announcement. The Knights of Columbus has fresh hot hamburgers, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, french fries, nachos, Frito pies, coffee, hot chocolate, candy, and pickles ready to go at the concession stand. That was a sales pitch to make you hungry, wasn't it?
an interesting and challenging class. For me, the sheep that wins the class, certainly not the biggest bodied sheep, but I think, again, the sheep's the best design. Certainly, this ewe lamb is just so much better out her hip. To me, again, I think she's just a little bit better up through her front third. One that, to me, when you get her on the move, she puts those hind legs where they need to be in terms of the way she tracks about the arena. One that, to me, again, one that's got some shape down her top. Again, just a little bit better in terms of loin and rack and compared to the second place sheep. This is the long bodied one. This is the cool looking one. This is a good one in terms of rib design. Not near as dimensional at her hip is what we see in class winner. Gets a little bit more peaked right behind the shoulders, not near as dominant in terms of shape down the top. But I love the length of body. I like the design. I like this sheep's lines. And that's where we kind of talk about this third place sheep. Again, one just gets a little soggier through the middle portion of his body cavity. One that wants to get just a little bit easier in her top. Again, one in relation to our class winner, not just dimensional, very similar in terms of hip design. I like to tighten that sheep up and through the middle portion of his body cavity just a little bit more, maybe give him just a bit more depth of loin, but certainly one that I think needs to fit in that third place hole. Then we get into a shorter kind of coupled sheep in the fourth place hole. One, to me, just a little bit different design. Just going to need to stretch this sheep out just a little bit more, maybe change this lamb in terms of the way he travels about the arena on those hind legs. Really competitive, lightweight hair sheep class. Again, it's these four exhibitors. A round of applause and recognize them.
Class 10 hair sheep, first place, Reese Kelm, Navarro FFA. Second place, McKenna Kelm, Navarro FFA. And third place, McKenna Kelm, Navarro FFA. All right, we're about to bring in Class 11 hair sheep. There are 3 entries in this class. We'll be placing 2. And we'll need first and second place to hang around the staging area from Class 10.
It's a big ended sheep. Again, just powerful, just massive in terms of just top and leg. One that's stout for a hair sheep from the ground up. Again, long bodied, really firm to the handle, correct his condition. For me, I think he wins the class real easily. We'd like to change him up to the point of his shoulder in terms of his blade placement. He gets a little coarser up to that front third, but certainly one in terms of power and just mass down the top line. That's where he excels our class. Real firm handling sheep in second. This is the one that's elevated. This is the one that's cool through his shoulder and blade. One that's got some length of body in relation to his elevation as well. I love him in terms of his touch. I love him in terms of his firmness to handle, in terms of his condition. Need to power him up in terms of his leg, certainly give him a bit more dimension on his hip, but it's in terms of handle, a really, really nice touching one. It's good. Cheap to round out the class, got some power down his top line. He's the one that wants to get a little bit forward through his chest. He's the one that gets a little bit deeper through the middle portion of his body, a little bit softer to the handle. I like the product on his skeleton. We just need to change his overall design to give him some more elevation and eye appeal. Really nice class here. Nice trio in our heavyweights. Really powerful handling sheep to win the class. Congratulations to these three exhibitors. Good job.
Class 11 hair sheep, first place, Ava Delgado, Clemens FFA. Second place, Anke Dupree's, Navarro 4H. We do need our first and second from Class 10 and Class 11 back in the ring to select a breed champion and reserve. We also need Class 13 medium wolves to get ready in the staging area. Class 13 medium wolves to get ready in the staging area. We do want to take a brief moment and thank Miss Cameron Parsons, our Guadalupe County Fair Duchess, for helping us out today, handing out the awards. Cameron, if you'll wave at everybody so they can clap for you. Thank you very much for helping today.
Not a lot of number of hair sheep, but certainly some ones with some quality. I think, again, you talk a lot about that class winner out of Class 1. She's complete in relation to her contemporaries. Certainly a better handling sheep. She's better designed than what we see in our second place sheep. It's a bit more dimensional at her hip. Again, one that's really nice. So the second needs a little more power, just kind of maybe a little more elevation up to the front third, just clean up that shoulder just a little. But, in terms of length of body, really like that sheep. The power sheep's in the heavyweight division. Again, one that's just massive, full of muscle, a little rounder out that hip, but certainly one that to me still runs uphill. We talked about how he's got a little shoulder issue as well as what we see in our lightweight second place sheep. And then we get into this ewe lamb that was in second in the heavies again. Just gets overpowered, but certainly one that's really firm to the handle, great heighted. Again, to me, it gets down to one that's just the most complete. That's going to be your champion. Young lady, let's go recognize this young man with his ewe lamb at the lightweights. Congratulations. As I said, it gets a little bit closer. We're going to talk about power. We're going to talk about maybe not quite as much power in a reserve role. Both of them have a little bit of a front end issue in terms of shoulder placement. We're going to go back with the one that handles so much better down his top. Just a more dominant sheep for a reserve role. It's a young lady out of the heavyweight division. Congratulations.
Right, breed champion hair sheep comes from Class 10, lightweight Reese Kelm from Navarro FFA. And the reserve champion hair sheep comes from Class 11, Ava Delgado, Clemens FFA. All right, Class 13 medium wolves should be in the staging area. We do have 7 classes of medium wolves today. Class 13 should be in the staging area. There are 6 entries. There will be 5 placings. Today, our judge is Eric Zimmerman. He is the District Extension Administrator for the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in College Station. He served as a county extension agent in Tom Green, Llano, Grimes, and Brazos counties. He is a native of Menard and received his Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degrees from Texas A&M University in the Department of Rangeland Ecology and Management. He has judged over 400 lamb and goat shows throughout the U.S. Eric is married to his wife, Stephanie, and they have 21-year-old twins, Jackson and Ramsey, who showed lambs and goats during their 4-H career. They both are currently juniors at Texas A&M University. Let's give a big round of applause to Eric Zimmerman for being our judge today.
It's a nice competitive class of lightweight medium wolves. This sheep, for me, just hit me real hard when he comes in the arena. He's just so much better in terms of his build. He's elevated. He's stout from the ground up. He's grooved up in his top. He's exceptional in terms of his forerib. You get to him and take a look at him in that three-quarter view. Exceptional in terms of his pin set. We have a tendency to kind of not get into him very much, and he wants to handle soft. We had that conversation because when you get into him, he handles with some definition of top. He really just gets better throughout that loin and that dock. One I like him in terms of his elevation, his handling is designed to win the class. Real powerful ewe lamb is second. Again, one if you just want strictly meat, you put her in the first place hole. To me, she's just a bit too compact. She's just not near as elevated. I'm going to get her up off the ground just a bit more. She's just a little bit finer made. Certainly one that to me a little bit deeper through the middle portion of her body cavity. To me, she wants to get just a bit more down-fronted, but certainly one in terms of just volume of muscle, she's just packed full of it. A really extended, long-bodied sheep to round out our top three. I like this sheep in terms of his rib. I like him in terms of his flank. I like him in terms of his top line. This sheep handles with some firmness. He just gets a little bit flatter to the overall design of that stifle, just a little less dimensional outer hip. I love the elevation. I love the extension. I love the touch, but just need just a bit more power in the middle and lower portion of his leg. We ran out the class with 4, 5, and 6 long-bodied, elevated sheep. It's way too green to compete today with the ones ahead of them. Nice class winner. Let's give these 6 out of class number 1 and medium wolves a round of applause. Good job.
Class 13 medium wolves. First place, Dustin Trotty, Navarro 4-H. Second place, Camden Missildine, Marion FFA. Third place, Riley Green, Navarro 4-H. Fourth place, Bailey Worthy, Seguin FFA. And fifth place, Montana White, Kingsbury 4-H. Class 13 is just finishing up and exiting the ring. Do have class 14 in the staging area. There are 6 entries in this class, and we'll be placing 5. All right, class 14 medium bulls coming into the ring. There are 6 entries, be 5 placing in this class. We can get class 15 medium bulls to the staging area. Class 15 medium bulls to the staging area.
think these two sheep for me work their way to the top real easily. I love the balance. I love the lines on this sheep that wins the class. He's not the longest bodied one of our top three, but he's long enough in relation to what he brings to the table. Exceptional in terms of his touch and handle. Exceptional in terms of his condition. For me, he's smooth down his top line. You talk about this sheep, for me, in terms of his rib, in terms of his elevation, in terms of his rear flank. I like all those aspects about him. I love his pin set as well. That's why he wins the class. Really a powerful sheep in second. Again, that's one that's just one of those, he's got such a big rack shape to him. He wants to dip right behind that rack handle is what we'd see in our class winner. One that's long-bodied as well. For me, when you take a look at him, when you get him on the move, he's just a little bit different in terms of his lines. We're going to drop him in his flank just a little bit more. I love his length of body. For me, I like his hip as well. I like his shape down his top. I just don't like him in his overall eye appeal as he travels against compared to our class winner. He could probably flip-flop either one of these two. That's not a problem with me, but to me, the one that hit me just a little bit better is the Young Lady sheep that wins the class. Interesting kind of sheep in third. I think he's more dimensional in that ewe-lamb in fourth. I think he's just more powerful down his top line. I like him in terms of his pin set, just a bit more. Love his feature, love his stoutness from the ground up. He's not near as dominant in terms of shape as what we see in first and second, but certainly one that's just a little bit better than the ones down the line. Nice duo up here on the top end of this class. Let's give all six of these out of class two a round of applause as well. Good job.
Class 14 medium moles. First place, Parker Missildine, Marion FFA. Second place, Parker Missildine, Marion FFA. Third place, Dylan Trotty, Navarro 4H. Fourth place, Dylan Trotty, Navarro 4H. And fifth place, Jackson Missildine, Marion FFA. We have class 15 medium moles coming into the ring. Now there are 6 entries in this class. There will be 5 placing. Just a few minutes, we do need class 16 medium moles to come to the staging area.
Pretty challenging class. I think there's some give and take. You know, the bluer pelted sheep really hit me at first when he came in the arena in relation to his build in terms of design. In relation to the ewe lamb that wins the class, she's just so much better handling. She is just so good down her top. To me, she's just exceptional in terms of her balance. I like her in terms of her lines. She excels our second and third place sheep in terms of rack, in terms of depth of loin. She's, again, one that, to me, wants to get a little flatter in her stifle, but then again, we've got some give and take in both of them. I love her handle. She's firm, she's full, and she's fresh. She wins the class. The problem sheep for me is second. As again, we'll talk about stoutness from the ground up. We talk about one that's long-bodied. That's all good and great. You put your hands on him. There's just not enough there. He just gets a little flatter rib. He gets a little bit narrower in terms of his rack shape, not near as dominant in terms of depth of loin. Wants to roll in that loin just a bit more, ever so slightly. Has a little offness to his hip in terms of from hooks to pins. Wants to roach up in his top. He's just fighting the young man today. I think it would help if the sheep would relax a bit. Real firm handling, ewe lamb around our top three. A little bit different in terms of her design, in terms of the hip. She wants to taper towards her tail head just a bit more. Wants to give her just a bit more expression down her top line, and certainly change her pin set just a little bit as in terms of her overall design. Really, again, some sheep down the line here. It's got some muscle, got some design. They just don't fit all the parts and pieces together than what we see in the top three. Very competitive and challenging class. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause. Good job.
Class 15 medium moles. First place, Lucy Botting, Navarro 4H. Second place, Dustin Trotty, Navarro 4H. Third place, Nora Botting, Navarro 4H. Fourth place, Amy Ritchie, Marion FFA. And fifth place, Montana White, Kingsbury 4H. All right, we do have Class 16 medium moles in the staging area. They're going to be entering the ring. There are 6 entries in this class, and we will be placing 5. Class 16 medium moles are entering the ring. We're going to call Class 17 medium moles to the staging area. Class 17 medium moles to the staging area.
It's a real challenging class, very extremely tough for decision to in relation to what we're going to do. And I say that it's not because of the sheep I think that wins the class. For me, he's the more combinational sheep, long bodied, up fronted, elevated, just out from the ground up, really grooved up down his top line. Again, one that's just long from his 13th rib back, exceptional in terms of the length of hooks to pins. One that's got that dimension out his hip. I love him in terms of his length. I love him in terms of extension. I think he's acceptable enough in terms of his shoulder and blade in relation to his body skeleton, in terms of how much boldness there. Really a long body dude, and I think he moves about the arena quite nicely. For me, I went back and forth and back and forth. The young lady's sheep in second, he's given up 10, 12 pounds. He's not the biggest sheep in the class, but I'm telling you right now, in relation to his frame, he had plenty of top shape. He's just grooved up down his top. He's extremely nice in terms of curvature to his rib, lays that top really nice. He's smooth down his top line, big in terms of his loin as well. Maybe not quite as big in it on terms of that depth of leg and hip as what we see in first and third, but he's good enough, especially when you take a look at how clean he is through his chest forward, how clean he is through his shoulder. I love his elevation. I like his balance. Maybe it'd pull him apart a little bit. I thought elected to put him in that second place hole because I think he's got enough product on his skeleton to compete with these other two, and I think he's just a little bit better in terms of his shoulder as compared to our third sheep. If you just want power, if you just want muscle alone, that's the one you use. He's got a big old top. He's huge in terms of his stoutness down his rack, in terms of his loin. He's deep as well. He's big in terms of his hip. He's got plenty of stifle. This is the one when you travel him, he gets his chest forward down. He gets just so much more boulder up through his front shoulder. He wants to run downhill. I want to elevate him a lot more, make him more eye appealing as he travels about the arena. Again, in terms of length of body, in terms of handle, in terms of power, there's all good things about him. But to me, just not near as elevated and cool looking through his front third is what we see in first and second. Very challenging class. That's the way we saw him today. Congratulations to these three exhibitors. Good job.
Class 16 medium moles. First place, Abigail Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Second place, Avery Cisak, Navarro FFA. Third place, Case Pearson, Kingsbury 4-H. Fourth place, Peyton Cisak, Navarro FFA. And fifth place, Riley Green, Navarro 4-H. Right, class 17 medium wolves are in the staging area, getting ready to come into the ring. There are 9 entries in this class. We will be placing 7. All right, class 17 medium wolves are entering the ring. Again, 9 entries, placing 7. This time we're going to call class 18 medium wolves to the staging area. Class 18 medium wolves to the staging area.
by far the most competitive class we've seen today. And I say that because you talk about the top three in terms of what they bring to the table. That's not to say that we don't have some really good ones down the line in that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 holes, a really exceptional set. The one that fits me, the one that just for me in terms of a show sheep, design, combination of balance. The hard-headed dude wouldn't walk today, and I think if he gets out and moves, you can even see how much more good he is in terms of the way he's built. This sheep is just, for me, in terms of rib, in terms of flank, in terms of elevation, in terms of his lines, he's exceptional. Again, a sheep that when you put your hands on him, you get over the top of him. He's got some curvature to his rib. He lays that top in just exceptionally well, just smooth down his top, deep in terms of his loin. I think he's exceptional and acceptable in terms of his hip design. Is he the most powerful sheep in the middle and lower portion of his leg? Certainly not. But for his frame size, for his handle, for his touch, for his hock set in relation to the way he moves about the arena and tracks away from you. He's natural in his base width. I love him in terms of his rib, his line, his handle. He's just so cool to look at. And just those shoulder and that blade that just wedges up so much better than everybody else. I like him to win the class. A real powerful sheep in second. We kind of went back and forth with these two. He's stout from the ground up. He's got a big top in him. He's big in it. He's big in terms of his stifle. For me, he gets a little bit plainer up through his front third. He's just a little bit different in terms of his forerib in relation to our class winner. I want to clean him up just a little bit there. Again, that's getting picky because this dude's big and stout, powerful down his top line. He's not near as fresh to the handle in terms of his loin as what we see in that first place hole, but I think he's good enough in terms of his shape, in terms of his hip, in terms of his length of body to put him in that second place hole. Again, one that's cleaner up through his front in relation to our second place sheep is the one that falls in third. I like this dude up to his front third. He's just a notch shorter from flank to flank. He's the one that's the softer handling sheep, not near as dominant down his top line, just doesn't have near as much power as what we see in first and second. Certainly one that's elevated, and again, one that I appreciate that about him as well. Again, a very competitive class, a really nice trio up here. I really like the design on that class winner here in terms of his handle, but that's not to discount the quality of the next one down the line as well. Congratulations. Let's give them all a round of applause. Good job.
Class 17 medium bulls. First place, Will Schultz, Santa Clara 4H. Second place, Ava Clark, Navarro FFA. Third place, Avery Cisak, Navarro FFA. Fourth place, Morgan Karn, Seguin FFA. Fifth place, Justine Covarrubias, Navarro 4H. Sixth place, Madison Kirshner, Seguin FFA. And seventh place, Peyton Lesage, Marion FFA. That was the fifth class. Two more.
Yeah, water got a little deep for that one.
It got a little stout. It went from
All right, Class 18 medium bulls are entering the ring. There are 6 entries in this class. We'll be placing 5. This is Class 18 medium bulls entering the ring. 6 entries, placing 5. All right, we do have one more class of medium bulls after this. That'll be Class 19. You can come to the staging area. Last class of medium bulls, Class 19, to the staging area. After Class 19, our heavyweights of the medium bulls, we will have the champion and reserve champion, breed champion drive. Then we'll have our overall grand drive for the show. Then we're going to move to showmanship. There will be 3 divisions of showmanship: seniors, intermediate, and junior. Senior showmen will be grades 9 through 12. They will go first. Next will be intermediate, grades 6 through 8. And then wrapping up the showmanship will be juniors, grades 3 through 5.
Another nice duo up here for me. The one that's again more complete. He's not the longest body one, certainly in comparison to our second place sheep. He's long enough. Again, you put you put your hand on him. He's just so good over his rib. He's just so good over his rack. He's so fresh to his handle. He's just so much better in terms of his pin set. So deep in terms of his twist and stout from the ground up. Again, for when we get into these 50-pound, 150-pound range, he's acceptable enough in terms of his blade and shoulder in relation to his body. Would we want him just a little bit cooler? Man, probably so. But he's good in his lines. He's stout made. He's just so much powerful. He's just so much more dimensional in terms of his hip and his top is what we see in our second place sheep. And that's not to say that this dude ain't got plenty of top shape as well. Big rack as well. Maybe not quite as nice in terms of that hip point junction as what we see in our class winner. This is the sheep that wants to get just a bit more, ever so slightly tapered towards his dock and his tail head when you compare him to the first place sheep. A little bit piecier in his overall design, a little bit different in terms of his lines. Like to maybe drop him in his flank just a little bit, but certainly one. I love his length of body. I like his touch and handle as well. Young lady sheep in third, got some power down his top line, maybe a little bit finer made, but I love his length of body. I love his touch. I love his correctness condition. Not near as dimensional at his hip as what we see in 1 and 2, but he's got enough product on his skeleton when you compare him to the remainder of the class. The young ladies in 4, again, long and elevated, just not enough depth to twist and stifle. Then we round out the class with 5 and 6, a little bit different in terms of their overall design. Nice duo up here on the top end. Again, let's give them a good round of applause out of class number 6. Good job.
Class 18 medium bulls. First place, Will Schultz, Santa Clara 4-H. Second place, Ava Clark, Navarro 4-H. Third place, Taylor Grimm, Seguin FFA. Fourth place, Megan Fox, Clemens FFA. And fifth place, Annabelle Hendricks, Steele FFA. All right, we do have class 19 medium bulls entering the ring. There are 5 entries in this class. We'll be placing 4. Right, class 19 medium bulls are entering the ring. 5 entries, 4 places. We do need first and second place medium bulls from class 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 to come to the staging area.
Again, it's big class. Take a look. And freshness certainly has a, a part in this. Design certainly does as well. I like the one that's the neater one up through his front third. I like a neater one through his chest floor and his shoulder. For me, he's got plenty of shape down his top. He's just so much better in terms of design up through that forerib and that shoulder. It's certainly one that to me is really cool to look at. He's good in his lines and he excels our class in terms of his overall design. I like him in terms of his forerib and his shoulder. The sheep in second, that's a lot of power in that sheep right there. Just massive and big top, big ended, stout from the ground up. Again, he's the one that just gets a little bit down fronted, just a little bit wastier through his chest floor, not as elevated in relation to his length of body and frame size. I like his volume of muscle. I just need to clean him up to that chest floor and elevate him just a bit. A little common made kind of sheep in terms of the third place sheep in terms of the way he's built through his blade and his chest floor. Just a little bit different in his overall design. He's another one that handles with a lot of power down his top. I don't think he's as fresh as what we see in first and second in terms of that hip point junction, but certainly one that's got some product on his skeleton. Round out the class with a little greener kind of sheep. I like this sheep a lot in his design. He just gets overpowered today. I think he needs just a bit more condition on him. If we do that, I think we make him even better. And again, the fifth place sheep got some product on his skeleton, just a little bit different in the middle portion of his body cavity in terms of design. Very competitive class. I really like that cleanliness up to that front end in this heavyweight class for that class winner. Congratulations to all these young exhibitors out of Class 7. Good job.
Class 19 medium bulls. First place, Camry Boder, Navarro FFA. Second place, Shiloh Purdom, Navarro FFA. Third place, Peyton Cisak, Navarro FFA. And fourth place, Madison Kirshner, Seguin FFA. Who was doing the woo? Good job. Right, we should have all the first and second place medium bulls from all the classes in the staging area to select breed champion and reserve. We'll do the overall drive for the show. Do want to remind exhibitors to please turn in your sale cards to the desk and table up here where we are at in the ring and the announcer's table. And don't forget to take pictures. When we get to the buckle presentations, exhibitors will have to fill out thank you cards before they receive the buckle. We'll present them, be able to take a picture, but you do have to fill out your thank you cards before you receive the buckle. All right, we do need the breed champions and reserve breed champions of all of the breeds to come to the staging area for the overall drive of the show. You need the champion and reserve champion South Down, fine wool crosses, hair sheep, and the medium wools will be determined here in just a few minutes.
Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause. 14 young, really good sheep for me. 14 really good kids. Done an outstanding job of getting them shown right. I think, we talked about this in the goat show yesterday. There was some give and take, but I think when you talk about the individuals that worked their way to the top end of this class or their individual weight classes, they fit me in terms of design. They were just better in terms of their look. They're in terms of their better in their overall design. They're exceptional in terms of their rib. they're not one of those. We talking about being counterfeit. They just if they got a lot of power and they track away from you and they still got that natural base width, yeah, they're legit and they're really good and they're built right and they're handled right. And I think all of these do so. Very nice to the handle, very nice to the touch. Ones that really are designed really nice in terms of their forerib, in terms of their blade, and the combination of lines, and certainly one that's got some dimension on her hip. When you take a look at, for me, again, to the high quality ones that you got here, there's a couple, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 that we could probably not go wrong with. It gets down to being a combination of freshness to handle and touch, superior in terms of design, ones that are extended and clean, but yet still really, really nice to the handle and touch. Again, a nice set here. Let's give them all a round of applause, and I'll go shake your champion and reserve champion's hands. Good job. Been a fun day today. Good job to all of y'all.
Champion medium wool is Will Schultz, Santa Clara 4-H out of Class 17. The reserve champion and also Will Schultz out of Class 18, Santa Clara 4-H. After the championship drive, I want to remind everybody we'll have showmanship. There's going to be 3 categories: seniors, 9th through 12th grade; intermediate, 6th through 8th grade; and junior showmen, 3rd through 5th grade. Remember to please turn in your sale cards at the announcer table, and also don't forget to take pictures for the sale. You also want to take a moment to thank Randall Herzog in the ring today. Also, the chairman of the land committee puts in a lot of time and effort. Had Mike Purdom over there helping in the staging area, Jeff Hanselka, a number of parents have Tina and Caitlin up here who also help tremendously to put on a good lamb show. Please give all of those volunteers a big round of applause if you don't mind.
It's been a fun day. It's been a fun show. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. I knew that we were going to see a number of good sheep. It didn't disappoint. These are really nice in their own respective breeds. Again, from the south down all the way to our medium wool sheep, fine wool cross, and the hair sheep in between. High quality sheep, good sheep. They run uphill. They're balanced. They really wedge up good. They handle with exceptional firmness and touch. They're all good in terms of their condition as well, and they don't disappoint as they travel away from you and move about the arena. I think that's extremely important. These kids they're so good now at getting them shown right. It's a matter of getting them out and getting them moving and see how athletic they are, because a lot of these sheep here, they don't change, and that's what's extremely important for me is they look just as good propped up as they do traveling and vice versa. An outstanding set here. Let's give them a round of applause again. I think you got a high quality sheep show, and we'll go shake your champion's hand again. Really been an honor.
Right, your grand champion market lamb is Will Schultz from Santa Clara 4-H. Belt buckle donated by San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo Ambassadors Committee, and we do want to thank Barbara Hall for being here to present that buckle.
I think it gets a little bit closer than you think it does. And I've done a number of these shows, and I think you use the best sheep, no matter what their respective their breed in terms of their quality. It does get extremely close in my mind, but yet it's still in terms of just overall completeness and dominance and power. One that just handles so much better and just combines that with that look as well. It's going to be a reserve champion, and that's the young lady with the medium wool as well. Congratulations, good job.
Reserve champion market lamb goes to Will Schultz, Santa Clara 4-H. All right, next up, and I apologize, in the reserve champion lamb, belt buckle donated by Kyle Kutcher and family. And just as a reminder as well, in this show, we also do have a third overall lamb that will be selected. That is the Lindy Lyles Memorial. And Randall Herzog and family donated that belt buckle.
As I said in the reserve role, I think it gets close to, and when we talk about that reserve role overall, ultimately we elected to use the medium wool sheep. You bring in this sheep that was at a class 2 or class 5 second place that was behind our champion, and wanted to make sure that we evaluated because I thought that was a really good dude in his own right. Handles good, really nice to the handle and touch. We talked about him in class. Had a little bit more point of the shoulder that may be perfect in relation to the one that won the class. But then again, the one that won the class was the grand champion. And so it's got to take a look. I want to bring this young lady out here, take a look, get them on the move, take a look at the down, take a look at the fine wool, the cross, the hair sheep as well. To me, the one that fits me better, being more combinational in relation to what he brings to the table in terms of his breed, in terms of design, in terms of his touch, is your third overall. It's the young lady with the south down. Let's give her a round of applause. Good job.
Third overall of the Market Lamb shows, Cambry Boater, Navarro FFA. Right, senior showman, you should be in the staging area. You're going to be up first, senior showman, grades 9 through 12. After senior showman, we'll have intermediate, grades 6 through 8, junior showman, last grades 3 through 5.
hand and headshot.
Right, senior showmen are entering the ring. Intermediate showmen, grades 6 through 8, come to the staging area. Now, for some of the exhibitors watching, this is senior showmen. There's a reason there aren't ringmen helping these exhibitors around. As you get older, you're expected to know what's going on and do a little bit more on your own. As we get into the younger ages, there may be a little bit more assistance, but it's always good for the young exhibitors to watch these senior showmen. This is how it's done.
Nice set of senior showmen out here. A really good set. Let's give them a round of applause. 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 or so. It's good that y'all came back. I say that as like I did yesterday. Get a chance to come back, you should do so. You get better. You fine tune your craft and things of that nature. I'm not going to get on the soapbox, other than maybe I will. No, this is a showmanship class, right? And we've been showing sheep all day long. And my personal preference is, if you're showing sheep, the lightweight downs, the heavyweight medium bulls, you exhibit them the way you exhibit them, right? You get into a showmanship class, why would you change the way you present yourself in relation to your sheep? Keep showing them upright body posture, things of that nature. I think sometimes we get an opportunity in today's world where we're taken away from the actual quality of the animal because we're doing things that maybe are a little bit more distracting in relation to our body posture related to the sheep and being in front of them and getting out of them. You all did a good job. I don't think, that's just one thing I've been starting to say here and there in showmanship classes, because I think it's important and needs to be noted. We all ask you a question or two or three, and you see this jacket. This is A&M Aggieland Lamb and Goat Camp, and when we have that contest that next day, that Sunday, we are prepared those kids for their individual age divisions to answer questions, because we think it's important to know something about your project. Did that split the hairs between first, second, third, fourth, fifth? No, it did not. But it's still a valuable concept and a valuable component of knowing your project. And so, we ask those questions. I'm not going to tell you the answers, because we've got intermediates and juniors listening, and we may get them to answer that question too. Again, it gets down to a compilation of everything. One thing I did see, you got to use the arena. This is not a big arena, but especially when we have 13 or so sheep and some big sheep in here, don't be afraid to use the arena. We start having a tendency to cut corners off. You get closer and closer. As a judge, we like to see the animal move. We like to see how athletic they are. And if you start cutting those corners, they get that circle keeps getting tighter and tighter instead of some distance. And so we want to make sure that we see those sheep. I think we could have given 3 or 4 or 5 different awards in this division, because there are some high quality ones. For me, the one that's the most complete from the very beginning to the very end, your champions, the young lady down here on the end. Let's give her a round of applause. Good job.
All right, your senior showmanship winner is Avery Cisak with Navarro FFA. Belt buckle donated by the Herzog family. Intermediate showman, grades 6 through 8. You should be in the staging area. Intermediate showman, grades 6 through 8. Intermediate showmen are in the ring now. We'll call junior showmen, grades 3 through 5, to the staging area. Junior showmen, grades 3 through 5, to the staging area.
Efficiency, hand placement, making sure that they look good on the walk, elevated head to where they don't drop their chest forward. Those are all the small things that make a big, big difference. I always say this to my two all the time. The smallest of things make the biggest of difference in relation to showing sheep. When you get into those big shows and that you walk in on the sand at Santone or on the green shavings at Houston, first impression's huge. You got to make, because that guy's got a lot of sheep to judge that day. And when you get up there and you get those athletic sheep moving with their head up and they're moving with some athleticism and some and they're fluid, it makes a world of difference. It makes a huge part. You've all done a good job. I think for me, when it talked about the person that navigated this arena with efficiency, set that sheep up, head and hand placement, feet placement, exceptional in all aspects. That's your champion. Again, let's give these kids a round of applause. A really nice set of 5 exhibitors. Young lady here, that's your champion on the end. Let's give her a round of applause. Good job.
Intermediate showmanship winner, Peyton Cisak, Navarro FFA. Belt buckle donated by the Cisak Sheep Company. All right, junior showman, last call. They're entering the ring, grades 3 through 5, junior showman. All right, exhibitors, don't forget to turn in your sale cards. If you are a belt buckle winner, make sure you fill out your thank you card which is required before you receive the belt buckle. And also, exhibitors, there is a backdrop to take your pictures. Don't forget before you leave.
Let's give our juniors a round of applause. Really good. This 5 out here, you're good. Keep up the work. Again, it's about the whole compilation of the entire class. There's small things that you need to fix. For me, it gets down to just a bit more complete. The one that's just combined more. So there's things that all of you need to improve on. Every time you get a chance to get in the arena, do so. You'll have fun. You'll get better. Every judge is different. Every sheep's different. Every ring's different. Again, we're not completely flawless, so we continue to work. The one that, to me, especially on the move about the arena, had the head up, confidence, efficient, set those sheep upright. Every once in a while, the sheep stretch. This person recognizes that sometimes and fixes that. That's something that we need to remember too. When something's not right, we got to be able to recognize that to fix it. Okay? That's something that's extremely important. An outstanding set. Young lady, second from the beginning. Let's give her a round of applause. That's your champion. Good job.
Junior Showman winner Lottie Owen, New Berlin 4-H. Belt buckle donated by the Bobby Noisy family. Exhibitors, congratulations. Great job on a good year and a very good show. I want to thank Eric Zimmerman, our judge, one more time. Please give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks. Good show, guys.
Yeah,
Really
wow.
good show.
Flew right through it. I was worried about a lunch break. Here we are.
This was